What if the most dangerous discovery in the universe wasn't a weapon, but a human decision? Tonight's story begins with a crash landing no one planned. On a world born from war and rebuilt from desperation. No prophecy. No chosen savior. Just one engineer from Earth. Caught between extinction and survival. Not of his species, but of theirs. He came here to fix a ship. Instead, he became the deciding variable in a conflict where lives are calculated. And compassion is considered a weakness. In this story, you will hear no legends. Only the sound of systems failing, breath slowing, and a man forced to choose between orders and conscience. Stay with this until the very end. Because what he does next will answer one unsettling question. When a world fights for its future, what part of you must die for the rest to live? Year 2187. The repair transport rocked like something huge had slapped its hull. Panels rattled above Elias' car. Warning lights strobed across the cramped cockpit. Oracle, talk to me. His voice came out tight and dry. Main nav array is blind. Oracle 7 answered. The AI kept its tone painfully calm. Micrometeor Cloud Plus directed jamming. We lost the beacons 20 seconds ago. Outside, the stars vanished behind a smear of violet haze. The forward display showed only turbulence and static. Elias grabbed the manual control frame. His knuckles pressed white against the worn metal. Confirm target, he said. We should be above the relay corridor. We are no longer in designated corridor, Oracle replied. Gravity well ahead does not match charted profiles. The ship lurched. Something below them pulled hard, like a hook in deep water. Elias watched the numbers crawl. Surface gravity, radiation flux, magnetic field variance. Unknown world, Oracle said. Preliminary classification suggests marginally habitable. High ultraviolet load at surface. That is not comforting, Elias muttered. The hull shook again. A sharp crack followed, like ice breaking. Portside heat shielding is compromised, Oracle said. If we stay in upper atmosphere, we disintegrate. So we go down, Elias said. His throat tasted of metal. He flipped the emergency descent toggles. Atmospheric brakes extended with a heavy clunk. The ship knifed into the violet haze. Heat numbers climbed in a vicious, steady line. Flames licked across the forward ports. The sky ahead turned into a churning ultraviolet glare. Angle? He asked. 17 degrees below optimal, Oracle said. Compensating with remaining thrusters. The floor trembled under his boots. Loose tools rang somewhere in the aft corridor. For a moment, he thought of Earth. Blue oceans, white storms, quiet docking lights in orbit. Then the ship hit denser air. The impact shoved him forward against the harness. Surface in 32 seconds, Oracle said. Brace for uncontrolled contact. I thought you were here to prevent that, Elias said. Not with half a star stuck to our hull, Oracle replied. The joke was bad. It still made him breathe once. Steadier. Outside, the violet haze thickened. It looked like someone had spilled ink across the sky. The altimeter spun down. 3,000 meters. 2,000. Deploy landing struts, he said. Struts responding, Oracle said. Integrity 81%. Recommend prayer. Not my department, Elias said. They hit hard. Metal screamed against stone. The nose buried into fractured ground. A wave of dust and shards rolled past the viewport. Harness straps bit into his shoulders. His teeth clicked together. Then the motion stopped. The world outside turned into drifting, violet-tinted dust. For a few seconds, the only sound was cooling metal. Heat groaned through the hull like an animal. Minutes passed in ragged breaths and system checks. Inside the wreck, time felt heavy and slow. Report, Elias said. Atmosphere outside is breathable with filtration, Oracle answered. Radiation slightly above safe exposure. Recommend suit. Hostile signatures? He asked. Thermal scan detects no large predators within 1 kilometer. Oracle said. Life signs present. Patterns unknown. Elias unbuckled the harness. His legs ached in the familiar way of too many gravity wells. He pulled on his field suit. The fabric sealed around his wrists and throat with a soft hiss. Helmet faceplate remained open for now. He wanted to see the air with his own eyes. At the hatch, he paused. The old reflex surfaced. Check tools. Check seals. Check heart. Oracle, keep the core warm, he said. If anything tries to eat the ship, scream. I do not scream, Oracle said. But I will be loud. The outer hatch groaned and slid aside. A thin river of dust poured in around his boots. Elias stepped down onto Zephyria-IV. The ground felt like cooled glass under a thin layer of powder. The sky was not blue. It was a deep, restless violet, streaked with pale bands of light. Sunlight hit his exposed hands. His suit sensors chirped a warning. Ultraviolet index 14, the display read. Limit exposure to 4 minutes without visor. He closed the faceplate. The outside world tinted slightly gray. A slow wind moved the dust in narrow, curling lines. Far away, dark ridges of stone cut the horizon. Then he saw the shapes. They emerged from the haze with quiet, cold precision. First 1. Then 3. Then a dozen more. Figures in segmented armor advanced in a widening arc. Their formation was textbook encirclement. Each wore a suit that looked almost grown, not built. Plates flowed together like overlapping scales of pale metal. Faint lines of bioluminescent green traced along joints. No glowing symbols, no mystical marks. Their helmets were open. Faces visible. Skin in shades of deep violet and soft lilac. Eyes clear, focused, evaluating. They were beautiful the way blades are beautiful. Shaped by purpose, not ornament. The one in front raised a hand. Her armor bore additional layers at shoulders and chest. Leadership markers, Elias thought. Not decoration. She spoke first. The words did not match any language he knew. Oracle piped into his ear. Running live translation. Please reply simply. The woman's voice came again through the filter. Unidentified vessel. State allegiance and purpose. Elias swallowed once. Elias Carr, he said. Orbital Engineering Corps. Earth Strategic Command. Oracle translated, stitching alien sounds into her language. She listened, eyes narrowing slightly. No fear there. Only calculation. I am General Valith Sorin, she said. Pura V sovereignty. The name rolled through the translation with a faint metallic echo. Her gaze flicked past him to the wrecked ship. You fell from orbit in a combat pattern, she said. Who fired at you? Still working on that, Elias said. Short answer. Not you, I hope. The warriors around her shifted grips on their weapons. No one laughed. Valith lifted 2 fingers, almost lazy. The circle stopped tightening. You stand on contested ground. Human, she said. Your world chose a dangerous time to arrive. I did not choose the time, Elias said. Just the repairs. He tried to keep his hands visible. Open, away from the cutter at his belt. Valith gestured to a warrior at her left. The other woman stepped forward, carrying a narrow device. It looked like a field scanner. Compact, layered, purpose-built. Blood sample, Valith said. Standard protocol for unknown arrivals. Polite people usually ask first, Elias said. This is me asking, she answered. The device's probe was cold against his wrist. A soft click. A faint sting. The screen lit up with rushing lines of data. Symbols he could not read moved fast. The warrior's eyes widened. She glanced at Valith. General, she said quickly. Tissue markers confirm. Chromosome pattern matches projected external archetype. Valith did not look away from Elias. Say it clearly, she said. Male, the warrior said. Baseline human male. Compatible with Helix Reforge models. The wind seemed to pause. Even the dust hung in the air a moment longer. Elias exhaled slowly. Translation. Oracle, he whispered inside the helmet. They believe your genetic profile can repair damaged reproductive enzymes, Oracle said quietly. Context indicates long-term fertility collapse. Valith stepped closer. Close enough that he could see faint scars along her jawline. You are far from your own sky, Elias Carr, she said. And you have landed in the center of our deepest wound. I came here to fix machines, he said. Not people. She tilted her head slightly. There is no machine more important than the one that carries a species forward, she said. Behind her, more warriors arrived. Some of their armor bore black bands. Morning, he guessed. Elias glanced back at his ship. The hull still smoked near the aft section. General, he said. I need long-range communication. Priority link to Earth Strategic Command. Valith took a breath, considering. You will be taken to Bioforge Theta first, she said. From there, we can attempt to route your request. I will not be handled like cargo, he said. Her eyes sharpened. You are alive. That already puts you above cargo here. The march to Bioforge Theta took time. Hours stretched across broken landscape and violet sky. They moved in tight formation. 2 warriors at his flanks. 4 behind. No one spoke unless necessary. It was the silence of trained soldiers, not suspicion. As the sun dipped lower, the sky grew darker and more saturated. The color settled into something like bruised glass. By the time they reached the outpost, the first stars were visible. Cold points behind a thin veil of haze. Bioforge Theta rose from the ground like fused bone and metal. Towers curved inward, connected by bridges of pale alloy. Elias's suit pinged as they passed through a containment field. Radiation levels dropped by half. Inside, the air smelled faintly of ozone and antiseptic herbs. Machines hummed in careful, measured rhythms. They led him into a chamber layered with consoles. Holographic displays showed molecule chains and hormone graphs. A cluster of Pura-V scientists looked up as he entered. Their eyes held the same assessment he had seen outside. Catalyst 01 has arrived, one of them said. Elias grimaced. I already do not like that name, he muttered. Valith stood beside him, arms folded. Can your systems reach your home command from here? She asked. He nodded at one of the empty stations. Give me a clean frequency range, he said. I will try. They connected his suit interface into a console. Oracle's minimal core linked with the Pura-V network. Signal path analysis, Oracle said. Nearest relay structure is non-functional. Long-range beams must piggyback on planetary defense lattice. Do it, Elias said. Static filled the audio channel first. A rising hiss, then broken fragments of known code. Earth Strategic Command, this is Elias Carr, he said. Emergency contact from unknown world. Do you read? The answer came not from Earth. It came from the system itself. Transmission window to your origin region. Oracle translated from Pura-V script. Minimum 3 light days at current configuration. Valith looked at the display. Her jaw tightened. You can call, she said. But no one will hear you until the 3rd day. And any answer will take 3 more, Elias said. 6 days round trip in a war zone. On one of the side screens, tactical data pulsed. Enemy vectors. Echelon Dominion signatures pressing closer to orbit. He watched the icons converge. It looked like a fist closing. Your war is not waiting for my messages, he said softly. Valith did not deny it. Our enemies strike our ability to bear children, she said. Now they strike the sky itself. Elias stared at the long-range delay numbers. They glowed in calm, uncaring digits. For the first time since leaving Earth, he felt the distance like weight. Not in kilometers. In choices. I still have protocols, he said. I still answer to Earth Strategic Command. Valith's gaze held his. Perhaps, she said. But here, Now, you are also something else. What is that? He asked. A resource, she said. A chance our people have not seen in 2 generations. Behind the glass walls, laboratories flickered to life. Screens showed simulation curves rising where they once fell. Elias watched the numbers shift around his profile. Gene markers, projected repair rates, survival probabilities. Outside, alarms began to pulse in a low, distant tone. Somewhere over Zephyria-IV, war was moving closer. He stood in the center of Bioforge Theta, feeling every gaze. Not as a guest. Not as a stranger. As something far more complicated. Something people might fight over. The first night on Zephyria-IV did not feel like night. The sky outside Bioforge Theta stayed a deep, restless violet. Thin clouds glowed faintly where the upper atmosphere still shimmered with residual energy. Inside, the lights dimmed on a cycle the body could accept as darkness. Machines kept their own rhythm. Elias sat on the edge of a diagnostic table. His field jacket lay folded beside him. His boots carried a fine crust of purple dust. He watched a monitor show his own blood chemistry. Lines of data marched past. Human. Ordinary. Dangerous. Here. A soft chime at the door. Valith stepped in without ceremony. Helmet tucked under one arm. Armor plates unlatched at the collar. You should be resting, she said. So should you, he replied. She glanced at the monitor. They finished your baseline, she said. You are as you said. Just a man from Earth. Your scanner disagrees, he said. She moved closer, reading the data. It agrees you are human, she said. It also agrees you are useful. He let that sit. Useful, I can live with, he said. Property, not so much. Valith leaned against a nearby console. In my training, she said. They taught us how to treat assets, allies, prisoners, and ghosts. He raised an eyebrow. Ghosts? He asked. People already lost, she said. Bodies still moving. Choices already gone. Her gaze held his. You are not an asset, she said. You are not a prisoner. You are not a ghost. What am I then? He asked. A potential ally we cannot afford to mishandle, she answered. He studied her. That sounds almost like respect, he said. It is exactly respect, she replied. And calculation. She walked to the wall display and brought up a map. The curved surface of Zephyria-IV appeared. Red arcs marked echelon trajectories. Blue zones marked pure V settlements and critical sites. This world has 12 primary cradle basins, she said. Places where our people can still safely conceive and raise children. We had more, once. Red symbols overlaid several basins. Now we have attacks, she continued. They learned how to blind our defenses. They target the places that matter, not the ones that burn brightest on a map. He stepped closer. Your enemy is efficient, Elias said. So are we, Valith said. But efficiency without a future is just a tidy ruin. She highlighted Bioforge Theta. This facility is not only a lab, she said. It is also one of the last places where new life might begin without terror. He looked at the indicator. And my blood sits in the center of that, he said. Your enzymes may repair what theirs destroyed, she said. If we model it correctly. If we do it right. And if you do it wrong? He asked. We create more ghosts, she said. He folded his arms. You keep saying, we, Elias said. You include me in that. You landed in the middle of our war, she replied. That is not your fault. What you choose next is. He considered the map. Back home, he said. We had a phrase. Mission creep. You start with a repair job. End up rewriting someone's future. He looked at her. I need to know something, he said. If I refuse to help you, what happens to me? Valith did not answer immediately. Some will say we have no right to keep you, she said. Some will say we have no right to let you go. And you? He asked. I say choice has to mean something, she replied. Her tone carried no softness, only conviction. If we win by stripping another sentient being of choice, she said, then whatever survives is not worth the cost. He nodded slowly. That, he said, sounds like something Earth would have written in a charter long ago. Then ignored when it got hard. She almost smiled. We do not have charters, she said. We have stories. We remember what happens when we forget we are people. Before he could answer, the comm panel chirped. General Valeth, a voice said. War emissary at Surin Telmor requests your presence in Strategic Hall. She brings full command staff. Valeth's expression cooled. She does not request, she said. She declares. She turned to Elias. You should hear this, she said. It concerns you. He slid off the table. I am starting to suspect everything here concerns me, he said. Strategic Hall was a long chamber with tiered consoles. Holographic grids floated above recessed pits. Tactical lines showed echelon patrol orbits like tightened snares. Surin Telmor stood at the central position. Her armor was fully sealed. Dark alloys, reinforced at chest and shoulders. Her hair was braided tight against her skull. 2 scars crossed her right cheek in pale lines. Souvenirs from a time when people fought at close range. Around her stood division captains, logistics officers, and a few scientists. The room smelled of metal, sweat, and a faint tang of ozone. Valeth entered beside Elias. Conversations quieted. Surin's gaze flicked to Elias, then returned to Valeth. You brought him, Surin said. I am done speaking for him, Valeth replied. Surin nodded once. Then he can hear how fragile his position is, she said. She gestured, and a series of projections appeared. Images of Puravi children, then gaps in the sequence where numbers declined. Graphs of fertility rates. Maps filled with darkened zones. This is our war, Surin said. Not beams and armor. This. She changed the display. Echelon signatures appeared, overlaying the maps. Strike patterns. Centers of infection. Lines of cold logic. They do not attack our greatest weapons, she said. They attack our ability to have daughters. Her gaze locked to Elias. You understand now why you are not a guest, Surin said. I understood the moment your scanner beeped, he replied. Murmurs around the chamber. A few captains appraised him openly. Surin stepped closer. In a quiet war like this, she said, a single compatible genome is not a visitor. It is a lever. A fulcrum. A resource, a logistics officer added. Say what you mean, Elias said. Surin tilted her head. On my first deployment, she said, I watched an entire outpost choose to run instead of hold. She did not look away from him as she spoke. They ran to save themselves, she said. They left behind our last intact cradle in that sector. Echelon burned it in 11 minutes. Her jaw tightened. 2,000 potential lives vanished, she said. No bodies. Only absence. She took a breath. I promised myself I would never again let fear of a choice cost that much, she said. She gestured toward Elias. You are one man, she said. You may be uncomfortable. You may be afraid. But your existence can shift the curve. Valeth cut in. Surin, she said. You are circling the same argument without naming it. Surin's eyes flashed. Fine, Surin said. She faced Elias square. I am prepared to order that your genome be integrated into Helix Reforge without your consent. She said. We have the technology to model, store, and deploy it. We can do this without you ever touching a single willing hand. The room went very still. That is the truth you came here to hear, Surin said. Valeth's voice dropped. And I am prepared to oppose that, Valeth said. With every rank I still hold. Surin swung toward her. You would risk our species for one human's comfort, she said. I would risk a certain kind of survival, Valeth replied. To protect the part of us that deserves to survive. The dead do not debate ethics. Surin snapped. No, Valith answered. They only haunt those who made the wrong choices for them. The air between the two commanders felt charged. Not with energy. With history. Elias watched them both. You keep discussing me, he said. As if I already left the room. Surin turned back. You are a tactical problem, she said. I discuss you as such. I am not a missile, he said. You are more dangerous, she replied. He frowned. How? He asked. Missiles are simple, she said. They go where they are aimed. You can miss, or you can hit. She nodded at him. You are a decision, she said. Decisions ripple in ways no one can wholly predict. A captain spoke up. War Emissariat, she said. We cannot hold the southern arc if Gaia Nexus continues to degrade. Surin nodded. I know, she said. She looked at Elias. I will not pretend I value your freedom equally with the lives of our children. She said. I do not. Her honesty landed harder than any threat. But, she added, I am not blind to the fact that you might do more if you walk beside us than if we chain you. She stepped back. So I offer you a choice surfaced with the worst truth, she said. She spread her hands. Help us as a partner, she said. Or know that if you refuse, I will still take what we need when the hour grows too dark. Valith's voice cut through. If you do that, she said, you will not only lose him. You will lose part of us. They stared at each other. For a long, long moment, no one moved. Later, the air felt heavier. Elias stood alone in a narrow observation alcove overlooking the exterior shield arrays. The horizon glowed where field generators bled faint light into the night. Oracle's voice hummed in his ear. You are processing, the AI said. That obvious? He asked. Yes, Oracle replied. You are pacing. He looked down. His boots had traced a small pattern on the floor. Back on Earth, he said. They used to tell us that in war, you do the job in front of you and let bigger minds handle the rest. That sounds comforting, Oracle said. It works, Elias replied. Until you become the bigger mind. He leaned on the railing. What do you recommend? He asked. I am an analysis construct, Oracle said. I recommend clarity. That is not an answer, he said. It is the best kind, Oracle replied. It does not lie to you. He watched the field flicker. If I cooperate, he said, they might use my help to stabilize their defenses. They might use my genome to rebuild their ability to have children. Yes, Oracle said. And if I refuse, he continued, Surin will eventually take what she needs anyway, when the losses become unbearable. That is a reasonable projection, Oracle agreed. Elias rubbed his forehead. So those are my options? He asked. Be a willing instrument or a stolen one? There is a variable you have not measured, Oracle said. What is that? He asked. How much influence your willingness grants you over the process, Oracle said. He stilled. If you stand outside, Oracle added. They run your blood through a machine. If you stand inside, you may shape how it is used. He let the thought settle. I did not sign up to be anyone's foundation, he said. You signed up to fix what was broken, Oracle said. You did not choose where the break would be. Steps approached behind him. Valith joined him at the rail. For the record, she said, I will not let them cut into you while you are asleep. He huffed a faint laugh. Not the reassurance I expected, he said. You needed to hear it, she replied. She looked at the shield glow. When I was a cadet, she said, they brought us to see the first cradle basin lost to Echelon. She spoke without drama. The fields were still there, she said. Cold. Dead. All the equipment intact. No fire. No ruins. Just silence where children would have been. She closed her eyes briefly. I decided then that I would never let this war turn us into a machine that forgets why it fights. She said. Elias glanced at her. And now? He asked. Now I am watching that decision strain. she said. He nodded. I cannot promise you the result you want, he said. I am not asking for promises, she replied. I am asking for a direction. He looked at his hands. Then here it is, he said. I will help you stabilize your defenses. I will help model whatever repair you need. But not as stored seed. Not as something you lock in a vault. She listened without interruption. If anyone, he said. If anyone carries part of me forward, it has to be because they chose it. Not because a command drafted them before they were born. Valeth's voice was very quiet. That will anger some people, she said. It might save you from becoming what you fight, he replied. She nodded. Then we move that way, she said. He exhaled. Does Surin know you came to talk to me alone? He asked. She would assume it, Valeth said. Will she like what I decided? He asked. No, Valeth said. She will hate it. He almost smiled. That makes two of us, he said. The alarm that broke the conversation this time was different. Not the steady pulse of an orbital warning. A sharper, rising tone. Incoming strike formation, Oracle said. Vector shift. They are not testing the shield. They are aiming at this facility. Bioforge Theta. The heart of their fragile hope. Valeth straightened. Battle stations, she said into her comm. Ground batteries online. Medical staff to shelters. Command to strategic hall. She looked at Elias. You go to shelter, she said. He was already moving the other way. No, he said. I go where the power flows. Elias, she began. If they knock out your life support hub, he said, you lose more than a lab. You lose whatever chance we just argued over. Her eyes struggled between duty and agreement. Stay close, she said at last. If you die now, I will be very angry. That sounds almost like concern, he said. It is exactly concern, she replied. They ran. The first strike landed near the outer shield node. The impact tremor rolled through Bioforge Theta like a distant drum. Consoles flared with error codes. Field strengths dipped, surged, then dipped again. Echelon is threading a narrow band through our weakest harmonic, Oracle reported. They're learning the rhythm of your shield. Valeth barked orders as they entered the main control nexus. Shift reserve power to node 7, she said. Bring auxiliary generators online. I want redundancy on every cradle basin. A tech shouted from the left. Primary modulation core is lagging, she said. Feedback latency climbing. If it reaches threshold, the shield will stutter. Show me, Elias said. He pushed past a pair of startled technicians and leaned over the panel. Waveforms danced in a jagged line. Your phase couplers are fighting each other, he said. You built this system in layers, right? Yes, the tech said. Original design plus 3 retrofits. Then half your gain protocols are out of tune, he said. Oracle, overlay optimal curve from my systems. Oracle projected a clean wave beside the dirty one. There, Elias said. We shave the spikes by bleeding excess charge into the unused backup arrays. That will overload them, the tech protested. Not if you accept that they are allowed to burn, he said. Valeth looked at him. Explain, she said. He pointed. This section, he said, feeds non-critical research sectors. If we sacrifice them, we keep your cradle fields stable. The tech hesitated. That means losing half our pending gene work, she said. Better data than children, Elias said. Valeth did not delay. Reroute as he suggests, she said. Mark all lost data as cost of survival, not tragedy. The tech obeyed. Power curves shifted. The shield waveform smoothed, still strained but no longer spiking toward collapse. Outside, another strike blossomed against the invisible field. This time, the glow held. Surin strode into the nexus. She took in the scene in a single sweep. Report, she snapped. Targeted bombardment on our modulation harmonics, Valeth said. Elias redirected load to protect cradle basins. Surin checked the updated map. Damage zones appeared in outer research rings. Cradle fields remained green. She looked at Elias. You gave up your own future tools. She said. I gave up your future toys. He corrected. So your future children might exist. A small silence followed. The floor shook again. Dust drifted from a ceiling joint. One of the orbital beams is focusing on our reinforcement corridor, Oracle said. If it cuts through, we lose access to 2 shield nodes. Elias squinted at the tactical overlay. That corridor runs above your support tunnel, right? He asked. Yes, Valith said. Then we make the tunnel the priority, he replied. He traced a line on the display. We reinforce underground and let the surface corridor die if we must. He said. Shield nodes without access are just statues. Surin watched him work. You are thinking like a field engineer, she said. I am a field engineer, he said. Another impact shuddered the building. A side console exploded in sparks. A technician went down, clutching a burned arm. Valith moved instinctively to shield them from falling debris. A support strut groaned. The overhead lighting rig broke loose and started to fall. Elias reacted before thought. He lunged, grabbed Valith by the collar, and dragged her sideways. The rig slammed into the floor where she had stood a heartbeat earlier. Dust and shards of composite sprayed across the nexus. Sound narrowed to a ringing hiss in his ears. When it cleared, he was lying half on top of her, one arm braced against the shattered floor. Her eyes were open, focused, startled but unhurt. He realized he was still gripping her armor. He let go. You all right? He asked. She nodded once. You keep doing that, she said. Doing what? He asked. Deciding to fix things that are falling apart, she said. He pushed himself up and offered her a hand. She took it and rose. Surin watched from a few steps away. Not bad, Surin said. For someone who landed here by accident. Accidents are just unplanned tasks, he said. She considered him. Your choices in there, she said. Saved real lives, not numbers. He met her gaze. You still think the numbers make the only argument? He asked. Her jaw flexed. I think the numbers tell us what we can afford to feel, she said. He shook his head. And I think if we let numbers decide everything, he said, we become the same kind of machine that burned your cradles. Surin looked at Valith. This is what you wanted, Surin said. A thinking ally instead of a bottled resource. Yes, Valith said. It will complicate everything, Surin added. Yes, Valith said again. Another smaller tremor passed through the floor. Oracle reported updated readings. Echelon barrage is slowing, the AI said. They are adjusting to unexpected shield resilience. Surin straightened. Then we use this breathing space, she said. We reorganize. We account for our losses. And we prepare for the next strike. She looked at Elias. And we decide what to do with you, she finished. He spread his hands slightly. I am right here, he said. I know, she replied. Her eyes were less hard now, but no softer. Which makes you harder to ignore, she added. When the barrage finally ceased, Bioforge Theta was still standing. Scarred. Cracked in places. But standing. Field reports scrolled across the main display. Cradle basins intact. Research sectors damaged. Casualties heavy but less than projected. Valith called for a brief, hard-won pause. Everyone with breath still in their chest, she said. Drink water, then return to your posts. We are alive. We will decide what that means shortly. In the quiet that followed, Elias stepped away from the consoles. His muscles trembled with delayed fatigue. He realized he had not eaten since before the landing. Valith joined him near an auxiliary viewport. He looked outside. The sky was still violet. A thin auroral shimmer rippled where the shield met the high atmosphere. He spoke first. I think I just applied for a job I never wanted, he said. Valith's mouth curved faintly. You are overqualified, she said. He nodded at the shield glow. You realize, he said, that every time I help you, I make it harder to pretend I am just waiting for pickup. Yes, she said. You also realize Earth might not like that, he added. Yes, she said again. He sighed. You are very calm about this, he said. No, she replied. I am very practiced. He looked at her. Surin will push again, he said. On my genome. On my status. On your command. I know, Valith said. But after today, she added. It will not be as simple as drafting you and filing the report. Why not? He asked. Because too many people saw you choose to stand with us, she said. Not as a captive, but as someone who could have run to shelter and did not. He thought about the young warriors in the corridors. The medics. The technicians who watched him reroute life support. I did what I know how to do, he said. And they will remember, she said. She looked out at the sky. You asked me once what you were to us, she said. Yes, he said. You are still a variable, she said. But now you are also a story. He raised an eyebrow. A story? He asked. She nodded. On this world, she said. Stories are what we build ourselves from when numbers tell us we should already be gone. He let the words rest. Outside, the auroral shimmer brightened for a moment, then settled. Elias Carr, engineer from Earth, stood in the heart of a foreign war. No longer just a crash survivor. Not yet whatever he would become. But after this day, Zephyria-IV would not be able to talk about its own survival without mentioning the moment a human decided not to run. 6 hours after the last orbital strike, the valley looked calm. From the outside, Bioforge Theta could have been any hardened complex. Scored walls, scattered debris, faint light leaking from shield seams. Inside, it smelled like burned plastic and antiseptic. Elias walked through a corridor turned into a triage line. Beds had been dragged against the walls. Makeshift screens hung from cables. Every few meters, a monitor chimed out a slow, stubborn heartbeat. A young Pura-V warrior sat on a cot near the far end. Her armor had been cut away from the waist down. Medical wraps crossed her abdomen in precise layers. Her skin was a deep violet, but along her lower torso, it had faded toward gray. A medic glanced at Elias. She asked for you, the medic said softly. Elias stepped closer. The warrior's eyes flicked to him. Pupils adjusting. Conscious, but tired. I saw you in the Nexus, she whispered. You held the shield when it wanted to die. I held some wiring together, he said. You held the line. Her lips curved slightly. My name is Lothar, she said. I used to train new recruits in the Keller Basin. I taught them where to stand when the sirens sounded. Where to run when they did not. Elias pulled a stool closer and sat. You still do, he said. She shook her head very slightly. Not anymore, she said. The medics say my reproductive lattice is gone. Too much spill from the harmonic field when the node cracked. I can fight. I can stand. I cannot add anyone new to the world I protect. The words were clinical. Her voice was not. When I was a child, Lothar continued. My mother used to hum to me in the cradle chambers. She did not sing words. Just a pattern she said her mother used before the war. She told me that one day I would hum it for someone smaller than me. Her fingers tightened on the blanket. I spent years fighting so that promise would mean something, she said. Last night it dissolved in my blood. Elias could not look away. What do you want me to say? He asked. She studied him. You are the one they talk about, she said. The man from the sky who can repair what the enemy broke. The one Surin wants to bottle. The one Valith wants to ask. He exhaled slowly. I am just a technician who got lost, he said. Maybe, she replied. But everyone is building stories around you now. I would like you to hear mine. He nodded. I am listening, he said. She drew a careful breath. I do not want you to save me, she said. I am already alive. I want you to remember that even now, when I have lost almost everything I trained for, I would rather die as I am than live in a world that treats you as a tank of code. The room seemed to narrow to the space between them. I need someone outside that bed to remember that, she said. Because when the numbers get worse, some of us will forget. Her heart monitor beeped. A little faster now. A medic touched a control pad, adjusted an infusion. Elias swallowed. I will remember, he said. Lothar smiled. A small, tired thing. Good, she said. Then whatever they do next, we have not lost completely. A chime sounded from the far end of the room. A comm tech handed a data tablet to the supervising physician. The physician read it. Her shoulders sank. What is it? Elias asked. The physician looked at him as if she wished the words could fall somewhere else. Cradle Basin Keller, she said. Atmospheric filters failed under targeted virus load. The basin is sterile now. Lothar's eyes closed. That was my posting before rotation, she whispered. The last basin in that valley still capable of natural conception. The physician nodded once. The last, she confirmed. No one screamed. No one threw anything. The sound that followed was worse. Nothing. Only machines, and a faint hum from the distant shield generators, still doing their best. Time moved strangely after that. For Elias, every minute felt split in two. One half spent looking at schematics and signal diagrams. The other half hearing Lothar's voice, talking about a song she would never pass on. By the time Zephyrria's second star cleared the edge of the clouds, no one in Bioforge Theta was counting hours. They were counting basins. The council convened in Strategic Hall before the next artificial dusk. Wordless tension sat in the air like static. Holographic displays swept through casualty reports, infrastructure maps, fertility projections. Each one worse than the last. Elias stood near the back, flanked by two guards. Not chained. Not free. Valith stood at her usual station. Her armor bore new scorch marks. Her eyes, normally steady, carried a tired edge. Surin walked to the central platform with measured steps. She placed her helmet on the table in front of her. Without it, her scars were more visible. Thin white lines across violet skin, tracing memories of fights that never made it into reports. She touched a control pad. A graph appeared in the air above them. A curve that started high, dipped, rose slightly, then plunged. This is the viability model for our species, she said. The curve dropped below a red line. This is the point where no amount of resource, no amount of technology, can restore us from decline, she continued. Even if every cradle worked perfectly. Even if no enemy ever fired again. She expanded a set of numbers. 32%, she said. That is our current projected recovery chance if we do nothing new. 14 years until the first irreversible wave of infertility tips into collapse. She turned slowly, making sure every officer met her gaze. I have stood in those cradles, Surin said. I have seen them empty of infants and full of machines. I am done watching that line fall while we cling to rules written for gentler times. She raised a hand. Hear this, she said. Under Article Helix of Wartime Doctrine, I claim emergency command displacement. The room reacted in ripples. Some officers straightened, as if braced for impact. Others dropped their eyes. Valith took a single step forward. That article was designed for singular threats, she said. Rogue generals, compromised command links, not for disagreements over strategy. Surin met her gaze. We do not disagree over strategy, she replied. We disagree over whether one human's comfort is worth the extinction of our daughters. Elias felt every eye flick to him and back. Valith's voice stayed level. I am not defending his comfort, she said. I am defending the idea that whatever survives us still deserves to be called people. Surin touched the scar along her cheek. On my third deployment, she said, Echelon forced one of our cradles into a decision. Surrender the coordinates of our main fleet anchor. Or watch a virus strip every living cell from their youngest generation. Her jaw clenched. They chose not to surrender, she said. The basin died because they clung to an idea of honor that had nothing to do with the babies in their arms. She looked again to the graph. I swore that day I would never watch a whole future vanish because someone was afraid to make the ugliest choice, she said. Her gaze returned to Valeth. Emergency command displacement stands, she said quietly. You are relieved. Valeth did not flinch. These officers can refuse, she said. Surin addressed the room. Those who support immediate usage of all available tools to ensure our biological survival. Stand to my right, she said. Those who wish to debate while the curve falls. Stand to my left. It started slowly. 2 officers moved to her right. Then 4. Then a cluster from the logistics wing. To Valeth's side came more than a few. Communications. Some medics. A handful of unit leaders whose armor still carried fresh blood. The room divided without shouting. Elias watched it happen with a cold, sinking feeling. Surin raised her chin. So be it, she said. She looked at Elias. Elias Carr, she said. By authority under Article Helix, you are now classified as critical strategic resource. You will be escorted to Helix Lab for full genomic extraction and modeling. Your cooperation is appreciated but no longer required. The words felt like a sentence and a diagnosis. Elias spoke before he could calculate. If you do this, he said, you will win the war and lose the right to celebrate. Surin's eyes narrowed. Do you think history will judge that harshly? She asked. If there is no one left to read it? Yes, he said. Because you will still have to live with yourselves in the meantime. She did not respond. Valeth stepped closer to Elias. You cannot force this, she said to Surin. Not while I still hold command codes for Bioforge Theta. That is precisely why you no longer do, Surin replied. She turned to a nearby console. Transfer primary command authentication to War Emissariat, she ordered. The system hesitated. Then acknowledged. Control indicators shifted from one column of names to another. Surin looked almost regretful. Choice is a luxury we no longer possess, she said. Valeth shook her head. Choice is the only thing separating us from the machines trying to erase us, she said. Surin's voice cooled. Take him, she said. 2 armored guards stepped up beside Elias. They did not manhandle him. They did not need to. He looked at Valeth. Her eyes were not pleading. They were asking a question. He gave the only answer he had left. I will not help them that way, he said quietly. Her hand tightened on the edge of the console. If they move you, she said softly, everything changes. He nodded once. Then let it, he replied. The guards led him out. Behind him, he heard Surin call for readiness reports and security lock protocols. He also heard, faintly, a medic mutter under her breath. This is the hour, the medic said. The hour when we stop losing only to the enemy. They did not put Elias in a cell. They put him in a preparation chamber. Sterile walls. Soft white light. A chair in the center with more restraints than cushions. Helix Lab waited beyond a sealed door, humming quietly. Oracle spoke in his ear, voice low. I do not like this room. Me neither, Elias said. He sat on the edge of the chair instead of in it. A transparent panel showed a view into a small adjoining space. Storage racks. A diagnostic station. One wall covered in framed photos. He blinked. Are those children? He asked. Yes, Oracle replied. Helix staff families. Before the war intensified, they kept the images here as motivation. He stood and walked closer to the glass. The pictures showed young faces. Some alone. Some in clusters. Some in the arms of elders. Caught mid-laugh. No one had taken them down when the lab shifted from hope to triage. The door slid open. Surin entered alone. She did not wear full armor now. Only a plain dark uniform with a command sigil at the collar. Her eyes moved around the room, then settled on him. You requested to speak with me, she said. I assumed you might want to gloat, he replied. Her mouth twitched. If I wanted that, I would bring an audience, she said. She nodded toward the chair. Sit, she said. I am more comfortable here, he answered, standing by the glass. She studied the photos for a moment. This lab was supposed to be a place of beginnings, she said. Not extractions. Yet here we are, he said. Yes, she replied. They stood side by side, separated from all those frozen smiles by a few centimeters of crystal. Do you know why I invited no guards? She asked. Because you are sure you can put me down if I try anything, he said. There is that, she answered. But also because I am tired of winning arguments by rank alone. He looked at her, surprised. Then stop, he said. She ignored that. You believe I am crossing some sacred threshold, she said. Taking away your choice, turning you into a tool. Yes, he said. You are not wrong, she replied. But tell me this, is a scalpel evil because it cuts? A scalpel is not a person, he said. And if the person holding it can save 1,000 lives with one cut? She continued. Are they cruel for making it? If they cut someone who never agreed to be on the table, Elias said. Then maybe. Surin sighed softly. You speak like someone who has not attended many mass funerals, she said. I have seen enough, he replied. Not like here, she said. We do not bury individuals. We bury numbers. Whole classes of possible futures. Lost overnight. She nodded at the graphs still faintly projected on the wall. When that line falls, she said, we do not have the luxury of asking every cell for permission. Elias forced himself to stay calm. You are forgetting something, he said. What is that? She asked. That the weapon you want to build is not just in my blood, he said. It is in how everyone sees what you do with it. Her brow furrowed. Explain, she said. If you drag me into that chamber and strip me for parts, he said. You win short term. You get your enzyme cascade. You might even get your daughters. He pointed toward the photos. But what do you teach them? He asked. About what it means to be Puravi. He did not raise his voice. You teach them that when survival is at stake, he said, consent is an obstacle. That the future of the many always justifies crushing the one. That if they become inconvenient, they too can be strapped to a chair in the name of the greater good. Her jaw tensed. You assume we would tell them, she said. They will feel it, he replied. Children always feel the shape of the world that made them. Even when no one names it. She looked at the chair. What would you have me do? She asked again. While my world shrinks? Fight for it, he said. I am, she replied. No, he said softly. You are fighting for its biology. Valith is fighting for its soul. Something flashed in her eyes at the name. Valith has always been too gentle to survive this war, she said. Gentle? He echoed. I saw her stand under artillery fire to hold a line. That is not gentle. That is choosing not to become the thing trying to erase you. Surin's gaze went back to the pictures. You think I do not remember softness, she said. You do, he said. That is why you came here alone. He took a slow breath. Look, he continued. I will help you design whatever protocols you need. Defense fields, repair routines, even models for how my enzymes interact with your damaged systems. He paused. But I will not be stored and replicated without my say, he said. And if you walk that path, you will lose more than my cooperation. You will lose the will of everyone who still believes in what Valith stands for. Surin's face hardened again, but not completely. You overestimate your influence, she said. Do I? He asked. Lothar does not think so. Her head turned sharply. You spoke to her, she said. Yes, he replied. She asked me not to let you remake this world so efficiently that it forgets we once dreamed of something better. Silence stretched. Surin looked down at her hands. For a heartbeat, she seemed younger. Less carved by orders and losses. If I release you, she said quietly. And we fall because you refused to be used. Can you live with that? No, he said. But if I let you turn me into a storage unit and you win that way? I could not live with that either. He met her eyes. The difference is, he said. One path keeps something human alive, even if we die. The other keeps only a shape. She inhaled. Earth sent you here as what? She asked. A mechanic, a messenger? A maintenance specialist on a repair assignment, he said. I was supposed to fix a relay and go home. She gave a humorless smile. Now you are trying to fix an entire civilization, she said. No, he answered. I am trying to fix a single decision. The rest is up to you. They stood with that between them. At last, she straightened. Helix protocols will proceed, she said. I will not cancel them because one human made a speech. He nodded once. I did not expect you to, he said. But, she added, I will instruct the staff that no invasive procedure begins without my direct order. As long as there is time to think, there is time to reconsider. It was not surrender. It was a crack. He accepted it. I will hold you to that, he said. You may have the chance, she replied. She turned to leave. Paused at the door. For what it is worth, she said without facing him. I do not want to make a weapon out of you. Too late, he said. You already did. You just have not decided which kind. She left without another word. Time passed. Elias did not sit in the chair. He stood by the glass, watching faces of children who had never known what decisions were being made in their name. By the time the station clocks slipped past artificial midnight, his legs ached. He did not move. The alarms that woke him were not lab tones. They were combat sirens. Red bands of light pulsed along the ceiling. Oracle's voice cut through the noise. Internal security breach, the AI said. Multiple system overrides in command subsectors. Combat signatures on both friendly and friendly channels. In English, Elias muttered. We are fighting ourselves. Yes, Oracle replied. The door to the prep room hissed. It did not open fully. It jammed halfway. A hand forced it the rest of the way. Valith slipped inside, armor scraped, eyes sharp. You are hard to break into, she said. Elias blinked. You pulled this off faster than I expected, he said. I told you, she replied. If they moved you, everything changed. He heard distant shouts. Not panicked. Focused. What happened? He asked. Surin began transfer protocols to move you to deep storage, Valith said. Some of us objected. That sounds like an understatement, he said. She tapped her wrist unit. A small tactical map flickered into view. Sectors glowed in different colors. Security teams loyal to her tried to seal Helix Lab, she said. Medical and comms units blocked their routes. Engineering cut power to non-essential bulkheads. We are not shooting each other yet. But we are close. A muffled thud shook the floor. Correction, she added. Closer. Surin? He asked. Still in Central Command, Valith said. She ordered non-lethal suppression first. Stun pulses. Restraints. She still thinks this can be contained. Can it? Elias asked. She met his eyes. Not in the way she wants, Valith said. He considered the chair behind him. If she catches you here, he said. This becomes more than insubordination. Yes, she replied. You came anyway, he said. Yes, she repeated. Another tremor rolled underfoot. The lights flickered. Oracle chimed. Notice, the AI said. Power draw spiking near cradle backup cores. Overload signatures look intentional. Valith swore under her breath. She is burning our own data nets, Valith said. If she cannot control them, she will deny them to us. Elias closed his eyes for a moment. This is how civil wars start, he said. Not with big speeches. with people who would rather break tools than see them in rival hands. Valith stepped closer. We can argue philosophy later, she said. Right now, I need to know something. What? He asked. Will you stand with me? She said, knowing it means standing against her. He did not hesitate. Yes, he said. You answered quickly, she said. I have been answering this for the last 12 hours, he replied. I was just waiting for the universe to catch up. A crack sounded from down the corridor. Energy weapons on low setting. Someone shouted for cover. Valith grabbed his wrist. We have to move, she said. Where? He asked. To somewhere your skills can change more than one room, she said. They emerged into a side hall. 3 young warriors waited there. One of them was Lothar. She wore partial armor, one hand braced against the wall, but she held a rifle steady. You should be in bed, Elias said. I can walk, she replied. I can aim. I still count. He wanted to argue. There was no time. Status? Valith asked. Security Node 7 is contested, one warrior said. They try to lock us out of command routes. We looped control for now. Good, Valith said. We are going to Gaia Nexus access tunnel. One of them frowned. That is practically under Surin's nose, she said. Exactly, Valith replied. She will not expect us to use it against her. Not yet. They moved as a unit. Half crouched, covering each intersection. No one fired first. The ship time clocks ticked on in the background, indifferent. As they passed a cross corridor, Elias saw 2 squads facing each other. Stun rifles raised. No one pulling the trigger. Between them lay 3 unconscious bodies in mixed armor. One officer shouted. Stand down, she called. We are not enemies. We are arguing about how to keep our children breathing. The other side hesitated. Elias felt something twist behind his ribs. This will tear you apart, he said. Maybe, Valith replied. But if we do nothing, extinction will finish the job slower and quieter. At least this way, someone chooses. They reached a maintenance hatch near a reinforced bulkhead. Valith keyed in a code. The hatch slid aside, revealing a narrow shaft sloping downward. Faint hum, deeper than the rest. Where does this go? Elias asked. Under Central, Valith said. To the outer conduits of Gaia Nexus. You saw only a slice of our systems in the Nexus last time. Now you will see the spine. They descended single file. The air grew warmer with each step. More alive. Lights along the walls pulsed slowly, like a giant heartbeat. Elias ran his hand near a conduit. Bioengineered fiber twined with metallic lattice. Half machine, half living tissue. This is where your world breathes, he said. Yes, Valith replied. He understood then why she had chosen this path. If Surin controls this, he said, she controls everything that matters. And if we find a way to persuade it to listen to another voice, Valith said, we might not have to destroy her to stop her. They reached a junction chamber. Panels surrounded a central column of glowing material. Soft light radiated outward. Not mystical. Just energy flowing through shaped biology. Lothar leaned against the wall, catching her breath. I used to stand above this, she said. In training. They told us that as long as this pulse continued, so would we. Elias stepped closer to the column. Oracle, he said. I need a full map of Nexus interfaces. Every point where this system listens. I can provide overlay, Oracle replied. But integration will require access to core protocols. Which I do not have. Valith removed a small device from her belt. She pressed it to the column. Pale lines rippled through the surface. This link gives provisional command authority from my old role, she said. Not enough to control the shield fields. Enough to ask questions. Elias smiled faintly. Questions are where everything starts, he said. He turned back to the warriors. In a few hours, he said. This corridor may be the only path left between 2 futures. One where Surin wins by breaking everything she cannot control. One where we convince your planet to survive without losing itself. Lothar nodded. Then we hold it, she said. Her voice shook only slightly. He realized this night would be remembered. The war had shrunk from worlds to a single corridor. He looked at Valeth. You asked if I would stand with you, he said. Here is my answer again. Yes. She held his gaze. Then from this moment, she said, you are no longer a visitor. You are part of the decision that will define us. He drew a slow breath. Then let us make one we can live with, he said. Far above, in command, Surin watched her boards fill with conflicting signals. Locked doors. Rerouted power. Quiet refusals. She knew exactly where they had gone. She knew what the Gaia Nexus meant. Her hands clenched on the console edge. Do not make me fight my own world to save it, she whispered to herself. No one answered. The line between necessity and cruelty had never felt thinner. The fighting inside Bioforge Theta did not last long. It lasted just long enough to scare everyone. Doors slammed. Sections sealed. Shots fired inside halls that were built for medicine, not war. Then the first 3 bodies came in. All Pura V. All in the same armor. Different armbands. Elias watched them laid out side by side. No enemy insignia. Only different choices. Valeth stood near the central table. Her jaw was tight, her shoulders squared too hard. This is what happens, Surin said quietly, when we pretend war can be polite. She had no guards with weapons aimed now. They all pointed outward, not inward. Elias looked at both women. You still have time to decide what this war becomes, he said. Right now it is eating you from the inside. Surin's eyes were darker than before. We tried your way, Valeth, she said. We waited. We debated. And the enemy kept burning our future from orbit. Valeth answered without raising her voice. We did not try my way, she said. We never truly asked anyone what they wanted. We only argued over who would force them. The room held that sentence like a fragile object. Elias stepped forward. You have a defense system, he said. The Gaia Nexus core. Designed to adjust biological shields across the whole planet. We lost half its capacity, one of the scientists said. It requires a stable genetic template to recalibrate. We no longer have one. You do now, Elias said. Every head turned toward him. He let the weight sit before continuing. My enzyme profile matches your Helix Reforge models, he said. I saw the data. You can use it to reset your shield biology. Not to breed by force. To protect what you still have. Surin frowned. That would mean binding our central system to you, she said. One human link. One point of failure. It already is failing, Elias replied. You are losing lives by the hour as it is. Valeth studied him. If we tie the core to you, she said slowly, you become a direct target. You will feel every modulation. Every surge. It could kill you. He shrugged once. I crashed into the middle of your war, he said. Dying while trying to hold the shield together is better than dying in a hallway because you cannot agree. Silence again. Different from earlier. Not just fear. Calculation. Hope, edged with doubt. I will not allow you to be wired in without consent, Valeth said. You need to understand exactly what you offer. I do, Elias said. I read fast. He pointed at the schematic hovering over the central console. Gaia Nexus uses biofeedback from a control genome, he said. You lost your stable sample during the first wave of attacks. So now your shield logic is blind. One of the scientists nodded, impressed despite the crisis. Yes, she said. The system was designed to adapt around a genetic constant. Without it, the pattern drifts until it collapses. My body can be that constant, Elias said. Temporarily. You run Helix Reforged through my enzyme profile. Tie it into the Nexus. We push the shield logic back into a controlled state. And if your heart stops? Surin asked. Then your sky follows it, he said. Surin studied him for a long moment. You speak as if you have already chosen to die here, she said. He shook his head. No, he said. I am speaking as someone who wants to live with himself when this ends. Valith's voice softened. This is not your world, she said. Elias looked at the triage bays, the labs, the stretcher lines. Right now, he said, it is the only one I can help. Footsteps approached fast. A small squad of younger warriors entered. Their armor lighter, not yet fully marked with campaign bands. At their head was Levia-IV, whom Elias had seen once in the outer hall. Eyes sharp, movements precise. She stepped forward, fist to chest in respect to Valith. Then she looked between Valith and Surin. Commanders, Levia said. Units from 3 divisions refuse to fire on each other. Surin's eyes narrowed. They refuse my order? She asked. They refuse all orders that involve shooting Puravi, Levia said. They will hold positions against Echelon. They will not point guns inward. That is mutiny, Surin said. That is sanity, Levia answered. Her voice did not shake. We are soldiers, Levia continued. We knew we might die. We did not sign to kill our own because we cannot agree over one human. Her gaze flicked to Elias only once. Then back to her leaders. We heard what he said, Levia went on. We know the Nexus can still work. We want a future where our daughters know they were not born from fear. She took a breath. We do not need victory that smells like cages. We want to win with the right to choose who we are. Her words landed harder than any shell. Surin closed her eyes. For a moment, she looked less like a commander and more like someone tired down to the bone. We are out of time, she said quietly. Echelon is tightening orbit. Their next strike will not leave any daughters to argue. Valith stepped closer to her. Then let us agree on one thing, Valith said. We protect what is left together. We get that shield up. And afterward, we answer to those who survive. Surin opened her eyes again. There was still iron there. But something had shifted. Link him to the Nexus, she said. Under my supervision, Valith added. Under both, Elias said. Levia gave a short nod. The divisions will stand down from internal targets, she said. If they see the shield rise again, it will hold them together. Time moved faster after that. They relocated to the Nexus control chamber. Gaia Nexus core loomed above them like a suspended heart of metal and glass. Cables as thick as tree trunks draped from the ceiling into a central cradle. Pulses of light moved along them, slow and uneven. The system was alive. Barely. Elias stepped onto the central platform. Technicians strapped interface bands around his arms and chest. A thin filament settled at the base of his skull. Oracle spoke in his ear. This is not recommended, the AI said. It never is, Elias replied. You can withdraw, Oracle added. They cannot force you while I monitor your vitals. Elias looked at Valith. She stood below the platform, helmet off, eyes fixed on him. I am not being forced, he said. Surin stood on the other side, arms folded, watching data feeds. If your pattern destabilizes, Surin said, we cut the connection. We do not trade one life for nothing. I approve that condition, Elias said. Valith addressed the technicians. Begin link when he confirms, she said. We synchronize Gaussian filters with his baseline first. No shocks. We build it like a bridge, not a spear. She looked up at him. You speak out if anything feels wrong, she said. I do not care how small it seems. He gave a thin smile. If something feels wrong, I promise you will notice, he said. Levia stood near the entrance with her squad. Weapons ready, eyes on the main display. Any sign of Echelon on the orbital grid would be their cue. The lead technician raised a hand. Ready for initial merge, she said. Elias took a breath. Do it, he said. Light moved up through the cables and into the cradle. His interface bands warmed. He felt something like a second pulse beat under his skin. Data poured into his mind. Pressure without weight. Colors without color. Numbers translated directly into sensation. He felt the planet's upper atmosphere as a thin film. He felt where it tore under radiation. Where it held. This is Gaia Nexus, Oracle said. The system is interpreting your enzyme profile as a stable reference. Feels like sticking my hands into the sky, Elias said. Do not pull too hard, Valith replied. He laughed once. Then focused. Shift shield density toward the northern hemisphere, he said. Match to my baseline. Use my tolerance curve as a ceiling. The technicians translated his commands into formal code. The Nexus responded with a slow surge. Across Zephyria-IV, invisible fields thickened. Radiation flux readings dropped. The red indicators on the strategic map shifted toward amber. Not safe. But less lethal. Helix reforge is stabilizing, one scientist reported. Repair algorithms are syncing to catalyst profile. Collateral damage curve is decreasing. Casualty projection dropped 12% in the last minute, Levia said. Her voice carried hope, even restrained. Surin watched the map. This buys us room, she said. Now we use it. The orbital alert sirens changed tone. Echelon warship entering firing position, Oracle announced. They are adjusting to compensate for increased shields. Of course they are, Elias said softly. Valith looked up at him. Can you do more? She asked. Yes, he said. Plug me into your Valkyrian units. She frowned. Those are our drone lances, she said. They require neural pilots wired from childhood. You are not trained. I have flown repair skiffs through debris fields, Elias said. And now I have your sky inside my head. That is close enough. Surin evaluated him with a fresh measure. You want to be our first hybrid pilot, she said. Part admiration. Part disbelief. I want your drones to hit where the shield is strongest, he said. And I am the one feeling it. You cannot calculate this fast from outside. The technician hesitated. Interface capacity might not support both Nexus and Valkyrian links, she warned. We are pushing his nervous system new directions. Story of my life, Elias said. Link them. They did. A new flood of sensation hit him. Tighter. Sharpened. He was no longer only a man on a platform. He was also 12 spear-shaped frames rising from their launch cradles. Valkyrian units cut through the upper atmosphere, riding along shield gradients that matched his breath. Focus, Valith said from far below. I am, he answered. Targets glowed like hot embers against the cold black above. The Echelon warship sat at the heart of a web of support craft. Their beams probed the shield, searching weak spots. Elias guided the Valkyrian units into the spaces between. He did not think in words. He thought in arcs. Angles. Cause and result. Redirect 3 to polar flank, he said aloud anyway. Use my skin as the map. Where you feel less pressure, that is where they must hit. Surin relayed orders to ground batteries. Match your fire to drone vectors, she commanded. We are done reacting. We move first. The first volley tore into the Echelon net. Not enough to destroy. Enough to disrupt. The warship shifted position, adjusting for unexpected resistance. They did not expect a coordinated response this fast, Oracle said. For once, neither did we, Surin replied. Heat built along Elias's spine. His heart hammered in a double rhythm. His own and the hum of Valkyrian drives. Status, Valith called. Still here, he said. Still pushing. Flashes streaked across the display as enemy fire tested the shield. Pain prickled along his arms. Not physical. Mapped feedback. Do not chase every impact, Valith said. Choose what must hold. He listened. Let some strikes pass into wastelands. Reinforced only near cities, labs, cradle fields. Casualty projection dropping, the scientist announced. Another 8%. We have not seen numbers like this since before the first attacks. Livia watched the map with fierce focus. She spoke only once. This is what it feels like, she said, to fight for more than survival. Then the message came. A new channel, cutting across all others. External transmission, Oracle said. Origin trace matches Earth strategic command. Elias almost lost the Valkyrian vectors. Put it through, he managed. The voice that followed was familiar and distant at once. Elias Carr, Captain Yoren Make said. This is Earth strategic command. The words felt heavier than the cables. We have received your earlier diagnostics through delayed relay. Make continued. We are aware of your situation on Zephyria-IV. Static crackled around the consonants. You are currently engaged in actions that alter planetary defense for a non-Earth aligned power. Make said. Your standing orders remain. Protect Earth assets. Avoid entanglement in external conflicts beyond authorization. Elias gritted his teeth as another shield impact shivered through his frame. Little late for that, he muttered. The channel stayed merciless. You will complete immediate stabilization of your own position, Make said. Then withdraw from Pura V operations. Prepare for extraction when a window opens. The next line came colder. If you initiate or continue joint combat operations that directly assist Pura V sovereignty against Echelon Dominion, Earth Strategic Command will classify you as a hostile tactical factor, Make said. You will be treated as a rogue asset, acting without sanction. The lab was suddenly very quiet. Even the hum of the Nexus seemed to recede. Valith looked up at him. She did not speak. Surin watched his face with unreadable eyes. Livia's fingers tightened around her weapon. Elias swallowed. His heart still hammered in time with the drones. With the shield. With a planet that had become his responsibility. Make's voice went on. Respond and confirm compliance, he said. Do not escalate. Your next words will determine your status. Elias felt 12 Valkyrian units holding position in high orbit. Felt the Gaia Nexus core waiting on his next command. He met Valith's gaze. The distance between the platform and the floor felt longer than 3 light days. He did not answer. Not yet. The channel remained open. Waiting. And for the first time, Elias understood that the choice in front of him was not just about who lived. It was about who he would be when they did. The warship broke orbit at 1409 standard. Not because it was destroyed, but because there was nothing left to gain. The shield pulsed once across Zephyria-IV. A wave of muted violet rippling through the atmosphere. Not triumphant. Simply alive. Elias stayed connected to the Nexus until the last impact faded. He felt the release not as sound, but as pressure lightening across the skin of the world. Oracle counted stabilization. 100% atmospheric integrity within safety margins. The AI said. Hostile forces performing withdrawal maneuvers. He exhaled. Then everything went dark around the edges. He did not fall. The technicians caught him before his knees buckled. Radiation alarms shrieked. Cut the link, Surin ordered. Cables disengaged. Static snapped where connectors pulled free. Elias's head fell forward. He could not lift it. Someone removed his helmet. The air tasted metallic, like heated ion residue. Valith crouched in front of him. You kept the planet breathing, she said. He attempted a reply. Only managed one word. Not alone. His vision distorted. Purple streaks bleeding into white. Medical drones rushed in. A sensor scan projected chemical cascade markers across his body. Severe gamma induction, a medic reported. His cellular repair limits exceeded. Surin stood to the side, watching both data and man. She spoke without armor in her voice. We ask someone to be more than what he is, she said. And we expect no cost. She reached for her sidearm. Valith's hand found her wrist faster. No, Valith said. It is on me, Surin replied. If we built a war that required this. This war is over, Valith said. Surin met her eyes. You do not understand. I understand perfectly, Valith said steadily. We do not honor sacrifice by adding another to it. Surin's arm lowered. Then who bears it? She asked. All of us, Valith said. Outside, thunder faded. Not weapons. Storm fronts displaced by energy pulses. Inside the Nexus Bay, the lights shifted from red back to amber. Medics moved Elias carefully to an auxiliary biobed. He saw glimpses. Technicians sealing fractures in glass housings. Warriors assisting triage personnel. Scientists rerouting coolant to stabilize neural collars. I should answer Earth, he said quietly. Valith leaned closer. You do not move until your vitals recover, she said. They demanded a response, Elias whispered. Then let your silence be one, she said. Her voice carried no command. Only quiet certainty. Later, when his heart rate steadied, they transferred him to primary recovery. It was not a hospital as he knew. More a synthesis lab for the living. Synthetic growth medium filled transparent frames. His body floated partially submerged, interface tendrils monitoring metabolic regeneration. Technicians and Puravi geneticists worked side by side. Surin stood near the entry, arms folded. You used our system, she said. But you did not let it use you. Elias's voice was hoarse. I used it because it needed to be done, he said. And if you had died? She asked. Then the work would still have been mine, he said. She nodded slightly. I considered ending myself to mark closure, Surin said. I know, Elias said. Valith answered from behind her. And I stopped her, she said. Surin did not turn. It is easier to disappear than to stay and answer, she said. Then stay, Elias said. Surin looked at him. And answer. He held her gaze. That is harder, she said. That is why it matters, he replied. Something shifted in her face. Not forgiveness. Acceptance of weight. Hours passed. Someone dimmed the lights. Outside, Zephyria-IV glowed gently. Stratus clouds curved along the horizon, tinted softly by the renewed biosphere. The war had not left beauty untouched. It had reshaped it. Valith entered quietly. She stood beside his recovery frame. You asked what we would do with your life, she said. He watched her through the fluid. And, he asked. We will not use it to rebuild our population, she said. His brow knit. Then what? We will use it to remember how we chose to survive, she said. A small pause. You gave us more than possibility, she said. You gave us a reason to seek it without losing ourselves. He nodded slowly. Then it was worth it, he said. She looked out toward the violet sky. At 17:03 local time tomorrow, she said. We host the Signal Accord. No formal treaty. No surrender terms. Only a declaration. He watched her. What kind? He asked. She met his eyes. Coexistence earned, she said. Later, when his vitals reached threshold, they allowed him to step outside. Not far. Just onto the observation terrace. Zephyria-IV stretched beneath a sky of muted amethyst. Fine threads of bioelectric air glow drifted across the upper atmosphere, proof the Nexus core was not just functioning, but adapting. Elias stood with effort. His body weak. His spine still aching where data pulses had imprinted strain. Valith joined him. Below, engineers rebuilt launch pads. Medics tested reactivation protocols. Warriors put down rifles to help realign support braces. Surin spoke calmly to a group of young strategists. No orders. Only direction. Elias looked at the sky. Do you have a name for this accord? He asked. Valith stood beside him. No, she said. Not a formal one, he pointed out. She shook her head. We are not drafting a treaty, she said. He glanced at her. Then what are we drafting? She took a breath. A decision, she said. To survive together. The words held no pride. Only truth. Far above, a comm relay blinked blue. Earth Strategic Command. Awaiting signal. Elias did not reply. He simply looked into the violet light rising across the cloud layer, and chose to let the silence answer. He did not save that world to own it. He stayed so no one would have to stand alone again. Because in the end, survival is not just about making it through the war. It's about choosing who you are once the echoes fall silent. If this story moved something in you, take a moment to like the video, share it with someone who believes in human resilience, and subscribe to the channel so you won't stand alone on the next journey.